What's up guys, it is Chris back with another unboxing. Today we are unboxing MAS, or Matthew and Sons watches. This is a watch that comes from Australia, or the brand is located in Australia. The micro brand is located in Australia, and it just comes in a very simple packaging, simple box here, small box, and inside we have a canvas watch roll. It's a 4-slot watch roll, I believe. It's signed by the brand, and then it has a little snap enclosure. Inside this little roll we have an extra strap, which is actually a really nice extra strap. It's sort of like a NATO strap, but it doesn't go through the lugs, and it's double thick, so it's actually a very nice strap, and we'll throw that on there for the full review, but we're going to leave that off onto the side for now. Inside, of course, we get a warranty card. It's just really pointing you to the actual website for warranty information and operation. And then, of course, we have the watch. Now, this is called the Irukandji. So I hope I said that correctly. It is named after a venomous jellyfish that's found in the coastal waters of northeast Australia. So I keep on holding it upside down, and I'm gonna get to the reason why I keep on doing that, and it's actually a good reason why I keep on doing that. Anyway, it is inspired by this jellyfish, and it's a venomous jellyfish, and they went as far as putting a little engraving of that actual jellyfish on the back. And when I first got the watch, that was the first thing I looked at, and there is a lot of detail on the back of this watch. You can see that it's actually engraved in there, and you have the tentacles, and there's the actual body of the jellyfish, but there's bead blasting, there is polishing, there's brushing. That's all on the back of the case. So a lot of attention to detail has been done on this watch, and a lot of attention to detail on that case back. So flipping over the watch again, you can see this has like an inky black dial, a very domed sapphire crystal, and a very nice bezel. And I'm just going to do some bezel action really quick. There's some very satisfying bezel action. The dial is very, very simple, very large indices, and those are obviously loomed. Just the logo at 12 o'clock, and then right above the 6 o'clock indice, it just has the name of the watch again, and 200 bar, or 200 meters water resistance. This gets a all stainless steel construction, obviously stainless steel bracelet, stainless steel case, and bezel. The bezel itself actually has a ceramic insert, and it is loomed, so we're going to do a loom shot at the end, of course, and I'm sure this has a ton of loom because they have very big indices on here, and since the bezel is also loomed, usually that's a good sign. Screwed-in crown is actually at the 10 o'clock position, so that's the reason why I constantly pick the watch up and I end up holding it like this initially. You have the choice if you want it at 4 o'clock or if you want it at 10 o'clock. I chose the 10 o'clock position because it's something that I don't have. And if it's something that I don't have, I really want that. It's just something that they gave me the option, and I would say 100% of the time, if it's something I don't have, there's a good reason why I wouldn't want it, yes. But having it at 10 o'clock really makes a lot of sense. It doesn't dig into your wrist the same way it doesn't dig into your wrist at the 4 o'clock position. And it's just something interesting. I thought it was a little bit different. I would take off the watch to set the time no matter what anyway. So it doesn't make a difference. I don't need it at 4 o'clock. I prefer to have a watch with something a little bit different on it. So 10 o'clock position it is. And I think that's really cool. The entire case is brushed. So you have brushed sides, brushed underside. The lugs are brushed. You have drilled lugs here. A very solid case, a very solid feeling watch. And as I mentioned, the bezel action is really nice on this watch. I just go through that really quickly again. It sounds really solid and it feels really nice. There's no movement in that bezel, no wobble, no moving around or anything, so it's very nice. Sign crown, of course it is screwed in. A very nice and very solid bracelet, and it looks like all of the links are actually screwed in, except you could only remove the bottom links, but there are rivets that go along the entirety of the bracelet itself. So I guess it may be giving the illusion that you could remove these links as well, but there are plenty of links that you could remove, and then there's plenty of adjustment in the actual clasp. Now, let's talk about the clasp. The clasp itself is very reminiscent of a lot of other brands that I have on the channel. However, there is one difference that I have noticed. This is way thicker than any other clasp that I've had that looks similar to this. So like I said, this design is used by a lot of brands, and I'm sure a lot of these buckles come from a lot of the same manufacturers. So this one's signed very deeply, and it is very smooth. It feels very nice. And as I was saying, there are a lot of clasps out there that look like this, but not a lot of clasps that are as thick as this. This is a very, very thick, very substantial clasp. It's just slightly thicker than most, but it makes a big difference, and it feels very nice, and it's a very solid clasp. Very nicely sounding and solid clasp. Anyway, it's just good to note that. And then, of course, the bracelet itself just tapers a little bit, which you guys know I really like tapering. There are no solid end links because you have straight links on here, and you can see that. Very cool. And drilled lugs, so it's easy to change the strap. Just a very interesting watch. You have a date at 3 o'clock, and this gets an NH35. So the size on this watch is 42 millimeters. However, that's kind of deceiving because it's actually 39.5 millimeters at the actual bezel, and then it's 42 millimeters at the case itself. And I'll throw it on my wrist so you can see. It actually wears a little bit smaller than 42 millimeters, and it wears a little bit like a 40 millimeter more or less than that 42 millimeters. 13.13 in width, so kind of thin watch, and 46 millimeter lug, 20 millimeter lug width, so a very nicely proportioned watch. So very quickly, I'm going to throw it on my wrist so you guys can see how this watch looks on my wrist, and then I will do a quick loom shot. I'm going to be wearing this over the next 2 weeks, as I normally do with all of my reviews. First impressions is that it's very well made. It feels very nice in my hand. I really like the bracelet a lot. A very interesting watch. I think this is going to look really good on a strap as well. Dome sapphire crystal is very domed, and it adds a lot of distortion. So if you don't like that, that's something you really have to think about. But other than that, first impressions, I think this is pretty cool, and I really like the buckle and bracelet. I think this is a really high quality made watch, and also a lot of attention to detail that was put into it. So also that dial has like a sunburst effect, which you can't really tell on the screen, and this comes in a bunch of different weird colors as well. Actually, another channel that I watch, Average Joe Watch Reviews, he got one. I think he got it in purple. I don't remember if that's the color he got, or it might be blue, but I think it was purple. And he got the crown at 10 o'clock, just like I did. So I'll definitely I'll link his channel in the description below. But today I am wearing the Zelos Mako 3. So obviously another dive watch, and this one has a Miyota movement and a very substantial, a very heavy watch. Actually, I'm really liking this watch a lot. I have to make a decision between this and the bronze, and I have not made that decision yet. It's going to be pretty tough. So here we go. I don't have this size to my wrist, so I'm just going to close it by holding it shut. But you could see this does not wear like a 42 millimeter. It wears like a 40 millimeter watch, 100%. Maybe 41 millimeters if you're pushing it, but that round shape and those lugs offer it to be a smaller watch. It definitely wears smaller. And it looks really good on my wrist. You could see this is a watch that actually looks better on than it does off. It's kind of weird. But again, I put it on upside down. Isn't that funny? There we go. So now let me put it back on the right way. And there you go. So now there it is. So you can see the crown should be at the 10 o'clock position, and this is not the first time. The first time I got the watch in my, just to check it out, make sure that, you know, it arrived okay. I put it on my wrist, and of course, I put it upside down. So there you go. So I'm going to be wearing it over the next few weeks. I think that's a fun thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing because it is different, and they're offering something that a lot of manufacturers don't. So that's really cool. So just like you can see on this Zelos, which is also 40 millimeters, this Zelos, which is 40 millimeters, wears bigger than that watch. That watch is 42 millimeters at the case. And, you know, you have that crown at the 4 o'clock. You don't have the option to put that crown at the 10 o'clock. So, you know, something to be said, you know, originality, I think. Very quickly, a loom shot, and then we'll wrap up the video. Well, there you have it. You can see it's pretty bright, the Loom, and you could get a little pip at the top there that gives you orientation of 12 o'clock in the dark. The hands and the indices and the bezel are all equally loomed, I would say, so they're equally bright. Looks really good. I love the bezel action on this watch. It's really nice and smooth. Feels really nice. There's no play in it. It's not hard to move, but it's just has enough tension. It feels really good. This watch comes in at $340, I believe. It's like 475 Australian dollars. It's 475 Australian dollars, and I think at the current rate, this watch comes in at around $340 or just under $340. So NH35, it's a pretty thin watch at 13 millimeters thick. 40 millimeter, really a 40 millimeter watch, 42 millimeters, ceramic bezel, sapphire crystal, riveted bracelet, extra strap, really solid buckle. I think it's a really good value at that price, and a lot of Loom on here as well. A very interesting watch from a family business. So Matt and Sons are actually the owners. So Matt is the person who you would deal with if you're buying a watch, and his sons, I guess. So that's really cool. And I really like to support them. It's an Australian brand, and I think that they make a very exceptional watch. Anyway, I will be wearing it over the next 2 weeks. I'll let you guys know what I think of it over those 2 weeks, but like I said, first impressions have been very good. Anyway, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. I really appreciate it, and it is very helpful for the channel. Please also don't forget to follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you buy anything through those links, it doesn't cost you anything extra. Interrupt your Prime benefits. However, it does help go support the channel, so I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.